CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, ALIKO.
Yes, we are live on the Progressive Mind Show. Good afternoon, everyone. We miss you all. It's been what? Maybe we missed one or two shows, and so it feels very long. But we're glad to be here, and this one is going to be very, very nice and sweet with a gentleman here. Some of you may have known his story already. It's very popular in Nigeria, on the continent of Africa, and currently in the U.S. working on some projects. But before we get into the proper introduction, we will take a short break. This is the Progressive Mind Show. Here we build our community by engaging you and I in dialogues. On the Sundays episodes, we connect Africa and diaspora, so we call it Finding the Balance. And on Wednesdays, we are here from 6 to 8 p.m. Mind you that the Sunday time has changed from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, so for Nigeria, it will be, I think, 10 p.m. For Ghana, it's 9 p.m. So please bear with us as we try to go through these changes. But it has been set. We shall be right back after this short break with the one and only Chef Eros. Well, we are back to this wonderful show, which is the Progressive Minds. We have in our midst the almighty Chef Eros. Is also known as the Billionaires chef. We want to take a moment to do a proper introduction. Chef Eros, I know that you've had a very busy schedule this week, even today. But we want to welcome you, especially to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And if you may, we just want to make sure that we let our listeners know who you are in a little bit. And we want to try and make sure we get our feed up here.
Mm-hmm.
We ask that you bear with us as we try to do this. So we are going to get this done. Bear with us. Okay. So Chef Eros is the one we have. He is also known as the one who knows what billionaires eat for lunch. We want to encourage all of you to share the feed. If you're watching us on Facebook now, please share it, because we're going to be talking to this gentleman who is doing something sensational for the continent of Africa and for humanity. We live, as I said, on our page, Progressive Minds. On YouTube, it's the Progressive Mind Show. We also live on Twitter, at Mind Show. Twitter is at Mind Show. Again, hello. And this afternoon, today is 8th of 8th, right? So it's 8/8/2021. 8/8/2021. It's the 8th month of 2021. Is and everybody knows that 8 is known as number 8. It stands for new beginnings. And so we pray for new beginnings for everyone that is watching us right now, and to your family and your friends. Once again, good evening and welcome to the Progressive Mind Show. We have been away, of course, for a few days, but we are back with this renowned chef. We would like to introduce him as the one who knows what billionaires eat for lunch. As I said, Chef Eros has cooked for many, many people, notably billionaires, famous people on the continent of Africa and here in America. Some of them on the continent are linked, the billionaire ALIKO Dangote, who's the owner of Dangote Group. He's also cooked for Mike Adenuga, one of the rich folks in Nigeria, if not on the continent of Africa. He's also cooked for the Grammy Award winner Laureen Hill. Can we go on down the list? He's cooked for Richard DAMIJO. That's if I got the name right. He's an actor in Nigeria, a famous actor in Nigeria. His name is Richard DAMIJO. Now, I wouldn't want to bore you with the names of the folks he's cooked with, but this gentleman is also a former commissioner for culture and tourism in the state of Delta in Nigeria. And without much ado, I'd like to introduce Chef Eros to the conversation this afternoon. Chef Eros, once again, we are humbled to have a man of your status and caliber on this platform.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Now, a lot of people would want to know how you started cooking. But before that, Chef Eros, when we started connecting, and thanks to Oni, a great lady, for making this connection. Oni, wherever you are, God bless you. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community. But some would be wondering, is he married? Does he have family? How many siblings does he have? Stuff like that. So if you don't mind telling us about your family, how many siblings do you have?
Quite a number, actually. So technically 8 siblings. I'm also technically an only child. So I have 4 siblings from my dad and 3 siblings from my mom.
Wow. And so only child for... Wow,
my mom and my dad together.
Your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. And so did you grow up in Nigeria your entire life?
Yes, I did. I grew up in Nigeria. I was born in Benin City. I grew up between Benin City and Lagos for most of my life. And then I spent quite a number of years in the UK whilst I was studying before I moved back to Nigeria to pursue my career as a chef. And
at some point, you pursued your career in the UK, France, or the US?
In the UK, between London, Wolverhampton, and Birmingham.
When you were growing up in Nigeria, had food always been something that you always wished to pursue as a career?
No, actually, the desire to pursue it as a career only came during university. But food was a huge part of growing up as a kid. We definitely were a food-oriented family and used to do a lot of cooking. I came from a pretty decent big family. So we spent a lot of time, eating. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And so whilst you were so you would say, based off your growing up, you developed this interest for cooking, but never something that you had wished or you would want to do as a full-grown man.
Yes.
Okay. Now, were there other curriculum activities? In Africa, we do the outdoors a lot. By virtue of a lot of situations in Africa, we don't have the games and the laptops to stay at home and be on your phone. So we go out, we play soccer, we engage in sports. What other extra activities? Now, would you say that soccer was one of the things you were passionate about, like most Africans?
Not really, actually. I spent a lot of time at home, watching TV a lot. I was more of a social person, so I used to prefer to go hang out with my friends, maybe play video games, and do more. I didn't do a lot of sports, to be honest. I'm not a outdoor person, so to speak. If any sports at all, swimming was probably my thing.
So with the type of person you are in Ghana, we would say we would there's a nickname we call people who grew up like you, like people who had all the, you know, the computers had all the good stuff going. We call them dadaba. Dada is like dada, right? Daddy, like daddy, right? And ba is child, so daddy's child, you know. So fortunate for you, you had all of that, and so and now, so at what age did you travel to travel abroad to further your education?
I believe I just turned 16. I just turned 16, so I wasn't even quite 16. I was 15 and a little when I went to study international business management at the University of Wolverhampton.
Okay, and then you came back to Nigeria and started your first company. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, so it actually started whilst I was in university. Whilst I was in uni, I had a little thing called Chicken Guy. And it really just started very organically from doing a number of house parties and marinating chicken to be grilled. And then before I knew it, I was making it and putting in freezer bags and selling it to friends, you know. But then I got a job working as a bartender because I wanted to learn how to make cocktails, and found the kitchen behind the bar, which was for me very intriguing to see, you know, all those people sort of in that chaos come together in a very sort of organized manner to put together one plate, you know. But then my mom has actually been a huge part of this journey, because whilst I was in uni, she kept talking about wanting to open a restaurant and go into, you know, the restaurant industry. And so when I was completing my degree, she asked me to help her write a business plan for a restaurant, and that business plan just sort of became my future. I moved back to Nigeria in 2008. Well, I went back to Nigeria in 2008 to help her sort of execute parts of the business plan, you know, the location, the staffing, all of that. And I ended up just staying back, you know, and continuing to set up the restaurant and become a huge part of my life.
And somewhere in that story, you also mentioned how your mom and maybe some of your siblings came up with the capital for you to start your first business.
Yes, that's correct. So I had saved up quite a bit whilst I was in uni, but it wasn't enough to do anything, you know. But because my mom already wanted to start the restaurant, you know, she put forward most of the money that was required to set up the first restaurant. My sister and her husband also played a huge role in that first restaurant. That restaurant failed. We ended up shutting it down about 2 years in. It was already an existing business, you know. It was a cafe at the time, which we converted into a restaurant, you know. But 2 years in, that business had failed, and I sort of said to myself, oh, I wasn't going to do this anymore. I didn't want to be in the food business anymore. It was way too stressful. I mean, imagine a 21-year-old running a restaurant. You know, I was too young and didn't think it was something that I wanted to do anymore at the time. But I guess God had already ordained that I was going to be in the food industry, and I saw myself sucked back into, you know, food barely 2 years later.
Okay, so that was very swift. You soared back into the food industry after being discouraged, having started. Would you say that maybe you spoke with your dad, or your mom came back to your mom spoke with you and said, hey, son, if this is truly your passion, go for it? What was the thing, or who came to you to give you that push?
No one, actually. It happened because I started dreaming a lot about food at the time. So I'd had these series of very vivid dreams where I was in a cookie production factory, and I couldn't eat or taste the cookies. You know, I would always wake up just before I could actually taste or eat the cookies, and that used to really irritate me, you know. And then there was that Occupy Nigeria strike, my first people that said, you know, since you're bored and you've been at home and you've been talking about these cookies, why don't you just go ahead and make the cookies? So that's what I did. I went ahead and started making the cookies, and that sort of became, you know, my business.
No, thank you so much for great responses. Some would also wonder, of course, you look very young for everything you've achieved, you know, with all those people you've cooked for. Is there family in the works? Are you already situated family-wise? Are you married and have kids? I guess that's the point I'm trying to drive.
No, I'm not married and I don't have kids yet.
Okay.
The kids that I know of.
At least no case that the man has been honest. You know, and again, growing up in Africa and trying to pursue a dream or a career that is non-conventional in the African, you know, space or in the African context.
Mm-hmm.
Did you face our setbacks or, you know, setting discouragement from the community, family, with regards to, you know, other careers where they like trying to turn you into other things, you know, the most popular careers that Africans kind of basically like to push their children into?
So for me, I think I was quite lucky because I come from a very artistic family, right? A huge part of my family are in print media, you know, art, drawing, you know, painting. My uncle was a musician, you know. So a huge part of my family is already very, you know, artsy-fartsy, very, what they call it, culturally inclined. You know, I have an auntie who has a restaurant. My grandma had a restaurant. So for them, it wasn't really a big deal. If anything, it may have been maybe a few friends who didn't quite understand why somebody with my education and how smart I was would want to limit myself to being a chef. It was like, how do you go from being a first class student to being a chef in the kitchen? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But there was something inside of me that kept itching for me to do this, you know, that kept pushing me to come back into the kitchen to get, you know, what's it called, to be focused on food and beverages.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly the point I was trying to drive, which is friends and loved ones, you know, distracting your vision. Yeah, and yeah, the reason why I say this is very common in Africa, right? Because we used to, like I said, the conventional careers. You have to be a banker or all of that, and then you mentioned how smart you were, and so people typically go through this, you know, but thank God that you belong to a family that gave you that support and encouraged you, and even if they hadn't done so, it was already in you, and you were burning with it, and you were going to become this eventually. So now you have, you know, you've taken this path. You were succeeding. The first restaurant after the failed one is what again? What was the name?
So after the failed restaurant,
yeah.
The next restaurant is actually my current restaurant now, Eros. But before that was the bakery. So right after the failed restaurant, I pulled back out of food industry, went into alternative energy and real estate. I was setting up a real estate business at the time when this whole Occupy Nigeria thing happened, and I started baking cookies. And before I knew it, I forgot that I was doing real estate and alternative energy, and I was just baking every single day.
And so how did you get your first break? Oh, let's say this. Who is that person that gave you your first break when it comes to you serving, you know, famous people?
Interesting. I don't know that I can put my hand on one particular person right now. Mm-hmm. It happened, I mean, over a number of things. So in terms of, and the list of famous people goes on even more than I know, because one of my first breaks was with my bakery cookie jar, a job called the Tinsel 1000, right? So Tinsel, which was an Mnet African Magic TV show, very popular at its time, you know, was celebrating their 1000th episode. Right, and I got hired to make 1000 cupcakes to, you know, celebrate the 1000th episode, you know, and as a result, I obviously met quite a number of famous people at the time, and my brand definitely got out there. But one of the first people that I would say, you know, I remember barely a month into Cookie Jar, Don Jazzy, who is a very famous producer back home.
Yeah,
$100, right, for what was maybe like $5 worth of cookies.
Okay.
You know, and I think for him, that was just his way of supporting, but that really definitely touched me, right? And I was blessed to be in a position or a location that had a lot of influencers and celebrities around. You know, on the floor below me, Wande Cole and Dr. Sid used to live on that floor, you know, and they were, you know, pretty good friends of mine, and so you know, they were one of the first people who tasted the product and, you know, got it out there. And before I knew it, it was going viral.
And so, would you say Don Jazzy is the first famous or celebrity or millionaire that that you first, you know, had an experience, but had an opportunity for cooking for?
I mean, if you generalize baking as cooking, then yes, because we're talking about my cookies at the time, right? So yes, Don Jazzy will probably be the first. Now that I haven't actually thought about it that way, but yes, Don Jazzy will probably be the first, you know, famous person that put money out and supported my dream.
That's beautiful. And you know, he also resides in Ghana, right? So you can claim him all by yourself. Niger people, you know, Ghana is claiming him too.
What?
Don Jazzy does a lot of projects in Ghana. You know? Yeah. No, great guy. And so, would you say he put you on? Did he call you literally to say, "Bro, I dig what you're doing. I'm going to put you on to some few people," or it just happened out of the flash? You realize that after him, you started getting connection to other.
Yeah, so it just happened after out of the flash, to be honest. I got a call that he was downstairs. He wanted to get some cookies for a special friend of his, and he was right outside my door. I got him the cookies, and he gave me $100, and I was like...
And then right after that, who is the next big one?
To be honest, I couldn't start name dropping now. Like, first of all, the names don't stick in my head because it's not top of mind for me. But there's been a long list of famous people and influential people that have patronized my business. One of which was my experience with Laureen Hill when she visited Nigeria, and I was hired to take care of her green room.
No, thank you. No, we'll try and get to some of the lists because it's very impressive. So even though you don't want to get into it, we'll get there. Has there been any inspirational figures in this career of yours for you?
Yes, inspirational. I would say a huge support system has come from the Adenuga family. Right. There's a lot that, in terms of the growth of my business and my brand, that the Adenuga family has done, especially with Bella being a huge part of that. She's definitely supported my dream, you know, and has done everything within her power to put my foot forward. You know, my interaction with and cooking for Emmanuel Macron actually came out of my relationship with the Adenuga family.
If you say Bella, who is
Bella is Adenuga's daughter. Is one of Adenuga's daughters.
Oh, okay, great. And is it the one you were trying to get married to? No, I was just joking. I was just kidding, man. No, but, no, but thank you. No, that is wonderful. Who knows? I mean, look, if it happens, please invite me to the wedding.
And she's married, love, bro.
Oh, it is okay. No, if you're connected to people like that, and they have daughters, and you're a single man, right? A lot of times that's everybody will generalize. So pardon me that I'm generalizing on the show, even though I'm making a very big joke out of all of this. So you have shown a lot of course, you've got into where you've got into because you have been very professional and have been very excellent in what you do. Now, having gotten there, you've decided to teach Africans, if I am right, correct me if I'm not, the art of presentation when it comes to food. And tell us about that journey.
So I won't say that I'm teaching Africans.
Okay.
I would say that I am maybe inspiring more Africans and showcasing my culture. And I'm using food as my medium of communication. I'm a very proud African and one that celebrates my culture And over the last 5 years, I have focused all of my attention using my skill on the African culture. When I started cooking, I was cooking French style, right? And then over time, I found that what I actually wanted to cook was West African and Nigerian food, right? And then I realized that one of my callings was to progress that cuisine, because there was very little work being done, for the progression of the cuisine. And as time went on and Africa became the center of attention for the entire world, it became even more important for myself and other chefs alike to do, to spend a lot of time and attention on building our cuisine and making it globally acceptable. And so 3 years ago, I ventured on holiday to use my holiday as a platform to communicate with my friends and family, to get the word out, about our cuisine. And I had also dedicated my restaurant to that same agenda. So my restaurant in Lagos, called Eros, is an authentic Nigerian restaurant with a modern twist. And it's with a modern twist because the African cuisine or the Nigerian cuisine needs a certain level of modernization to transcend into the 21st century and the rest of the world. No one is eating the way we typically used to eat. No one eats that much oil anymore. No one eats that much fried food anymore. No one really, when I say no one, I mean most of the rest of the world, eats that much spicy food anymore. So what myself and a few other chefs have been doing is modernizing the cuisine, and me in particular, keeping it authentic so that the taste is still authentic, but modernizing it in its presentation and preparation in such a way that, one, it is not just delicious, but it is nutritious, it is beautiful, and it is a great representation of our culture.
That's very powerful. And so you said you started this 3 years ago. Was it on the continent of Africa, or you started here in the US and you're trying to take it to Africa?
So I started in Africa, and I'm trying to take it to the rest of the world. So my journey has started from Africa, but I have gone into South Africa. I have moved into other parts of West Africa, Ghana, the UK and the US, using food as my medium of communication, showcasing my cuisine or my cultural cuisine in a modern light.
Is it also fair to kind of categorize you as the billionaire chef who is promoting Africa through your craft?
Correct.
Excellent. And anybody else in this industry that you know of doing same?
Yeah, there are a few people in the industry who are also doing the same. If I was to mention a few names, I would say a guy like Michael Legbede, Chef Freggs, Tia Lila. There's quite a number of number of notable chefs in Nigeria. Malonge from Rwanda, who are progressing West African cuisine.
And in total, how long have you been in the culinary industry?
In total, I've been in the industry for 11 years.
Any challenges at all? You sound like just well, okay.
My first business failed, so it's not been all good, right? It's been a lot of challenges. I was homeless for a year, I had a business that was failing every year for 3 years. There's been a lot of setback, but we've gone through it all, and I'm glad to say that we're on the rise.
Tell us about the homeless situation.
So this happened, 2014, 15? Yeah, between 15 and 16, actually, 2015, 16. I had just gotten my cease and desist letter in 1004. So 1004 was where I was living, and at the time had become my sort of commercial location. I was doing a lot of my production out of my apartment in 1004.
This is Lekki, Lagos.
No, this is Victoria Island, right? And I had gotten a letter asking me to cease and desist and to move out of the apartment, in a couple of weeks, So I had no time to really put myself together. At that particular time, I'd invested everything I had opening up on Admiralty Way in Lekki in Lagos. So all my funds had gone into that. As a matter of fact, I had put my car up as a sort of guarantee, or what would I call it, as a collateral to get a loan from a friend's dad, so I didn't even know how to have a car at the time, and now I had to leave my apartment, and I only had like a 1 or 2 million naira left in my account, which I put towards getting a new location for my production in Lekki. And I had to move in with a friend of mine, AGK, who put me up in his house for about 9 months whilst I was trying to get myself settled. I was putting a lot of everything that I was earning back into the business to get it up and running, and I didn't have any spare funds to say I want to go and rent an apartment of my own. And moving back home into my mom's apartment, into my mom's house, wasn't an option that I was willing to explore.
Wow. And then, but eventually things turn around for you. You were able to bounce back.
For me, necessity is always my mother of invention, right? So when I am in a tight corner, I excel, right? So that was the time when a lot of things happened, right? My catering business boomed at that exact same time because I had no other choice but to push it, with all my might, right? So my catering business actually paid for my next apartment, which now became where I was doing a lot of my catering preparation before I moved the catering preparation out of my house into what is now my current headquarters in Lekki.
Well, thank you, Mbrel. Thank you for sharing all these powerful, inspiring stories. Some people say, well, he's Nigerian, one, and two, are you Igbo or Yoruba?
I'm Yoruba. I'm a mix of Yoruba, Edo, and Calabar.
Okay. So the reason why I ask is that I think it's very common now. I'm from Ghana, and I know a lot of Igbos who are doing business, and I think around the world, Igbos are associated with business acumen and being successful with it. And so one would say that or maybe because he's Nigerian and he's Igbo, so he has that blood. But there's something about Nigerians and how they succeed in business. If you go to South Africa, in the US, everywhere, what would you say is that thing that motivates, even though we also know the struggles that the youth of Nigeria is facing due to bad governance? What is it that pushes Nigerians, to excel in almost everything that they touch if they decide to, if they granted the opportunity? Let me say that.
I would also say it's necessity being the mother of invention, right? And also the fact that we feel the need to prove something to the world. Come from, I don't want to say lack, but I want to say from not as our environment is not as privileged as the rest of the world, and as a result, we want to prove to the rest of the world that we're great, right? So you find that even I, as a chef who hasn't been to culinary school, continually doing everything in my power to show that I am better or equally as good as somebody who has been to culinary school. And as a result, I'm currently exceeding and excelling, right? And I think that applies to most Nigerians or Black people in general, is that we have a desire to prove the world wrong, and to show that we are, strong, powerful, and great. And as a result, we put all our might and our effort into everything that we do.
Bro, thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's very interesting that we have to prove something, right? As a people, because there shouldn't be that feeling or that need for us to prove anything. We're humans. If anything, our continent has all the resources. We are rich, we are great. So don't prove anything, just do. But I think that we have found ourselves in that type of era or situation where there's a need for us to prove. And so thanks for sharing that. And so I think what I've also been thinking about is, what is in Chef Eros' food that billionaires would want to be eating, continuously. Let me put it that way.
Well, it doesn't just apply to billionaires, and the whole billionaire chef and the man who knows what billionaires eat for lunch is almost. conversation just because of the fact that a lot of my clients are billionaires, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that is in my food that makes everyone want to eat it for lunch is love. My food comes from a place of love, and it shows in the taste, in the presentation. You can feel the passion when you eat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because of the fact that it comes from a place of love, and from my heart. I don't know that I'm doing anything special per se, aside from the fact that I pay a lot of attention to detail. I am particular about the quality of the ingredients that I use. I'm very particular about the techniques that I use, and I pay every attention towards a culinary experience that is unforgettable. Now, that attracts the billionaires because they can afford it, but that doesn't mean that it's only the billionaires that can eat it. Everyone would love and appreciate what I do. The whole billionaire chef thing is just something that has happened organically as a result of the people who have patronized me first.
And I think you got that term or name or title from Forbes Africa, right? When
Correct.
they did something on you. Okay.
Correct.
That is very powerful. And the reason why, again, I asked is that, yes, if billionaires can eat your food, then regular folks would even enjoy it more, right? Now, famous people are picky when it comes to everything: their clothing, their cars. They drive the best of cars. They get the best of houses. And of course, if they want to eat, they want to make sure that it's fine. How long have you spent with let's say on the average? How long do you spend cooking for a famous person or a billionaire or someone very important?
The thing about it is, I don't really think about this enough. Maybe I don't, because I don't really think about whether someone is famous or a billionaire when I'm cooking. I'm just cooking.
Okay,
right?
good.
So if I and this has probably happened when we're having a conversation and I was struggling to name any names, because I'm just like, everyone, for me, I don't differentiate between whether you're a billionaire or a millionaire or have no money. As long as you're coming to me for my food, it's great. But I would say that a huge percentage of the people who patronize now, there are different services that I render. And that's I think that's also why it's difficult for me to answer this question, is that my restaurant caters to everyone. There are items on my restaurant menu from $10 up until $100 on the menu, right? What is a little more premium is the catering aspect of my business, right? Because for example, to hire me, the call out fee, for example, is a minimum of $1,000, right? And only a certain number of people can afford to pay that just to call me out, not even including the food, right? But that's not to say that in the room there isn't a mix of people. Especially when I'm on tour, for example, or on this holiday tour, there are people from different walks of life who have attended the dinners, and some of them are famous and some are not, so it's a good mix of famous and unfamous, billionaires and non-billionaires that have patronized or enjoy my cooking.
Now that you've mentioned, thank you again for that insight. So now that you've mentioned the services that you provide, can you tell us the differences?
Okay, so the first of which is my bakery. Cookie Jar is an African boulangerie, an adult dessert parlor. And what that pretty much means is that the bakery focuses on developing African pastries and snacks. And we also have a parlor that's opening in a few weeks in Lekki. That's an adult dessert parlor. What that really means is that a lot of the desserts are targeted towards an adult clientele, not necessarily kids, because some of them are infused with alcohol, and a lot of them are, you have gluten-free, you have dairy-free, you have sugar-free, you have a lot of those like dietary supplements that are not necessarily children-friendly. That does not mean that children cannot have it. It's just that our focus was a lot on the adults. So that's Cookie Jar. Eros and Gourmet is the catering business, and that pretty much does anything from canapes to finger foods to fine dining, grills, bowls, small plates, things like like that. And Eros and Gourmet has been around for number of years. Eros is the next one, which is the restaurant in Lekki, which is an authentic Nigerian restaurant. And we have a variety of menus from lunch to dinner, brunch, suya, and co. And then Fresh Prep, which is our newest baby, which was born during the pandemic, is our groceries arm. You know, we make prepped meals, you know, meal preps, which are so we have prep groceries, we have recipe kits, and we have meal preps available for people who want to reduce their cooking time or do very little cooking, or even standardize, you know, the flavors in their kitchen by buying marinated proteins so that their chefs can just grill or fry or bake or whatever, you know, and so on and so forth. It also includes oils and spices, you know, and that's Fresh Prep. And the last is the Billionaire Chef, which is the entertainment part of the five of the group, and that's what you see on Instagram, you know. And we're working on a number of projects from TV, you know, to, you know, right now we're on this holiday tour, and I call it a holiday tour because it's not a professional official tour. It's really me on holiday, traveling to different cities and hosting dinners for friends and family alike who are willing to come and experience, you know, my cuisine. By next year, we're going to make it a lot more professional, you know, and that should be pretty exciting.
No, thank you for sharing. And we in this section, we want to do what we want to do is to show this video to our audience, and then you can tell us a story behind these folks. Okay, so this is Dangote. Tell us how you got to work for him, who made the connection, if you want to share it, but most importantly, your experience serving him and how long you served him for.
So ALIKO Dangote is obviously the wealthiest person in Africa. The first time I catered for him was in his home in Victoria Island, and that was connected through a great friend of mine, Ozo, who also does a lot of like premium events, and she has a flower shop in Lagos as well. And then after that, I got on to do a few things for him privately for his birthday through the Mokwedes, who host him quite often at Coronation Capital, and then for his daughter's wedding through Zafaya events, where we've catered for over 1,000 people during his daughter's wedding, and then a few other very private small gigs. Aside from that, yeah, so that's it for ALIKO Dangote.
ALIKO Dangote. Wow. So do you so we want to know how this thing works. So you do this for him, and do you get to stay with him for, let's say, a month or two to just make it food for him? Or
no. So I'm not that kind of private chef. I am a come, do my thing and go. And I am also one of those that don't necessarily fraternize with guests per se. You know, I can be very social. I'll come out, I'll smile and everything, but I'm just doing that more on a very professional line. You'll barely see me stand around and take pictures and, you know, chit chat. If I do any chit chatting, it's because the guests have requested to speak to me, and it's just a matter of, oh, we want to pay our compliments to the chef. But no, I don't like stay in anyone's house and cook for them on a daily basis.
Have you gotten the opportunity where you could have been a private chef for any of these big guys?
I have gotten a request to do it, but it's not my life's work. I'm not that kind of guy.
Wow.
I can't sit still. It can't be in one place.
You want to share who?
No.
Okay, no. All right. If he asks you to become your private chef, if this one asks you to come, the one on the screen right now, Dangote, if he demands that you do it, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't think? Oh my, okay. All right. So, because of course, you want to tell us?
Because then I'll have to put everyone else on hold, and I can't do that.
You're right. You're right. No, it's we want to get into your mentality, you know, because people live for different things, and you're living for not just your craft, but something bigger than you, which requires that you move around and get things done. And so we're very proud of you. And Somebody's asking about the jollof, the Nigeria jollof thing. So we'll get to that in a bit. So that is for Aliko Dangote, the wealthiest person in Africa. And after this one, I think that you had the opportunity to for the next slide coming up. Go ahead.
I said, do you want to check your messages? I sent you a message.
Okay, all right. So we have this person, and you want to tell us the story behind this one. Oh,
Laureen Hill.
Okay. All right, Laureen Hill. Now, before we do that, let's take a short break. I think we're due for a break. We also have some comments on the feed. We'll go into those in a little bit, but definitely take this short break. When we come back, the show on the Progressive Minds continues with the billionaire chef, Eros. We shall be right back.
Your mic is muted.
I think, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for drawing my attention to it. We were on the page of, let's see if we can get her here. We're going to have to do this again. Let's see if we can get Laureen here in the stream. We can see Laureen, so we'll do this. We will try again sharing the feed. Please bear with us while we try to get this done. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show, and we are talking to Chef Eros, the man who knows what billionaires eat for lunch, and he is sharing his story with us regarding this famous people that is cooked for and the product that is on. He just shared the story with his experience or his work experience with Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa. We're going to go on to the next slide, which is Laureen Hill.
So my interaction with Laureen Hill happened many years ago, actually, probably about 6-7 years ago. Whilst I was pushing the cookie jar agenda heavily. This was the early days of cookie jar.
Okay.
The brand was trending, and I got hired to handle her green room. She had come into Nigeria for a show at ALIKO Hotel and Suites, and I got hired by ALIKO Hotel and the green room which is a concierge company, to handle her green room. And so that involved making a number of things, you know, that she liked. You know, she was very health conscious, so we did like a nice crudité for her. You know, we made her some branded cupcakes with her face on it. You know, a bunch of salads, and she had a number of dietary restrictions with certain things that she wanted to eat, and so we made all of those available. And I got an opportunity to chat with her for a few minutes and take a few pictures.
Brilliant. And when you chatted with her, what was the compliment? What was her compliment for your food?
The first thing that amazed her, I think, was the first time she had seen her face on a cupcake before. So that was. But she was very intrigued by my passion and the attention to detail and how beautiful everything looked.
Thank you for sharing. And I forgot to ask you the same question for Dangote. So of course you got a chance to interact with him and his family directly. And then you did all this food for them. Where or was, if it was only one comment to you or compliment to you regarding your service?
Usually just pretty good food, you know, they enjoyed it. That's pretty much, you know, it's pretty good food. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. Okay. No, because again, the assumption is that if, you know, if these famous people have gotten into their space to cook for them, of course they're expecting nothing but exceptional, right, and different. And so if that is the case, we wanted to know how they felt about it, where their expectations met, you know, based off what they had heard or learned about you. And that's the reason why I wanted us to know. But thank you for sharing. And thanks for sharing the story regarding Laureen Hill as well. And I think the next one after Laureen Hill is this personality that is coming up. And again, you're watching the Progressive Mind Show. If you're on Facebook, please share the feed. And on YouTube, share it on YouTube as well. We're also live. Yes, can you tell us the story about Mike Adenuga?
Mike Adenuga is actually one of my favorite billionaires, if not my favorite of all of them. He's an amazing man. I've got to work with the family for a number of years. Very, beautiful family. You know, very private as well. You know, and I love and appreciate that. The first time I ever worked with them, I believe, was for a Christmas party in somewhere around 2014 or 13, thereabout. And from then on, you know, I have proceeded to work for the family at major events when they're hosting, for example, the president of Ghana, a bunch of people that they've hosted from time to time, you know, and I've gone along to even cook for the family on a weekly basis on a Sunday for a family dinner that they typically host. And yeah, it's been a great experience working with the family. One of his daughters, Bella, is a dear friend of mine, and she's been a huge supporter of my ambition and my dreams, and we've worked with her a number of times and with the family, and we continue to serve and cater to their needs.
No, thank you for again sharing your experience with Mike Adenuga, a billionaire in Africa. That's very inspiring. We want to check out the next famous guest that Chef Eros has cooked for. This lady right here. You want to tell us the story behind your interaction with her?
I'm looking at her picture and I'm like, she looks different from, but I'm guessing this must have been a very young picture of her, right?
Well, you know, we had to find a picture for her. Since we don't have contact with her, we had to research what we could find online. So this is what we got.
Okay, so I only got to cook for her once, right? And this was only about a week ago, right? only about a week ago at one of my dinners. She was one of the guests at my dinner last week, Saturday, here in LA. And she's an amazing, hairstylist and a beautiful, beautiful Black woman. And we got to interact. We chat from time to time on Instagram. She's an amazing person. And she absolutely enjoyed the experience where I presented 6 of Nigeria's most famous flavors from Yaji through to Zobo.
And for listeners, this lady is Felicia Leatherwood. For those who can see the name clearly, she is the world's leading celebrity stylist and inspirational beauty speaker in regard to natural hair. And so that is Felicia Leatherwood for you, one of the famous people that Chef Eros has cooked for. And we want to go to the next one. There are a couple of them. We just want to be able to get a opportunity for him to tell us his personal experience with these folks.
Bizoma St John. Bizoma was very, very brief as well. A few weeks ago in LA. And that was a beautiful experience. She came in a beautiful bright orange dress. I can never forget. And we did take a picture together, even though I haven't seen that picture yet. I'm going to try and get that picture out. She absolutely loved the experience as well. Didn't get to eat the jollof, so I owe her jollof rice, and she's going to hold me to it. But it was definitely an amazing experience to host her at my dinner.
Thank you for sharing. And Bizoma St John is an American businesswoman and a marketing executive for Netflix, currently for Netflix. But I think she was prior to Netflix, she was working for Uber as their chief executive marketing officer, if that's the right title. But she held that high position with Uber before moving to Netflix. And before we continue, I also want to say that maybe we'll come to that. We'll come to you mentoring other chefs. I'm sure you have other, chefs coming up that you're mentoring. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Great, brilliant. Are they mostly in Nigeria or
Yes.
all over? Okay. Now, hopefully we can find you one in Chicago who's Ghanaian that you can mentor to, if you don't mind. There is one young lady, and I'll just she goes by we're just trying to find her information here. The name of the company is Faithful Kitchen, and she is up and coming in Ghana. She's a Ghanaian up and coming chef, restaurateur, and business entrepreneur here in Chicago. Of course, that's jollof. Some of the list on her menu is jollof rice, mama tricia, salad, wache, fried rice, okra soup, and banku. All of that, peanut butter soup, light soup, and all of that. So if you want to, you can check her out. She's on social media. She's on Instagram. And she goes by Faith and the -Full Kitchen. Faith-Full Kitchen. I call her Dr. Safo, but her name is Agnes Safo. Her contact number, if you guys want to reach out to, is 224-334-5952. And again, later we can ask Chef Eros to give her an advice or two. We'll also come to that jollof argument. Just give us 1 second. Let's go through the list of famous people that the Chef Eros has cooked for. This is the president of France.
Look at this picture. Where's the head?
Emmanuel Macron. Tell us.
May God forgive the person that took this picture.
Sorry?
I said, may God forgive the person that took this picture and cut my head.
Of course. If God don't forgive that person, thunder will scatter his head. No, but yes, the person, did. I think you're trying to catch it. It looks like you were walking briskly away, and the person was trying hard to catch you there. So, but tell us the story behind this picture.
Okay, so Emmanuel Macron visited Nigeria a few years ago, and again, through the Adenuga family, I was hired to host the breakfast for him. he was there as well to honor Adenuga and officially open the Mike Adenuga Foundation on Alfred Ruwani in Ikoyi, Lagos. And I was honored to make a huge, delicious breakfast spread for the president and a few honorable guests that were, seated at the breakfast.
Was that a typical Nigerian breakfast?
The mixture of Nigerian and French. It was like a nice fusion breakfast.
And I also noticed that one of your businesses, has a French name. When I go through your, when I go through your stuff, it looks like you have a lot of French influence in some of the things that you do. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And if that is the case, what is the connection there between you and French?
I would say that the major connection would just be the fact that French is the mother cuisine. I got a lot of inspiration to modernize my cuisine from French style cooking.
Okay.
And yeah, the first time I ever saw the inside of a culinary class was in France, Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. And then we will go to the next slide. But while we are waiting for the next slide, we want to talk about your project. Actually, let's go to the next slide, and then we can come to the project in the United States. Okay. Great. And this one is, I'm guessing, has to do with. There you go.
Wale Soyinka, amazing human being. Again, this happened the same day with Emmanuel Macron. But after that, we have gone ahead to make a number of things for him, usually ordered by one of his managers. He's just a great guy, to be honest. And I've only ever really interacted with him that one day where you can see in the picture. That was the same day with Emmanuel Macron. Oh,
thank you so much for giving us that background. That is the famous Wole Soyinka. I was going to say Soyinka. He gave me the right Soyinka. Now, the next on this slide coming up is, man, all Africans love this man.
I know, right? RMD. Richard MOFE DAMIJO. So Richard MOFE DAMIJO has probably had my food a number of times, but the one that is memorable, the most memorable, would have been 3 days ago. 2 days ago? On Friday. So that happened remotely. He's still celebrating his 60th birthday with a number of parties. And Friday happened to be one of those parties that I say I, but I mean we, and this is me and my team, and I'm grateful to have such an amazing team that are able to carry on doing my work whilst I'm away. But my team and I came up with a beautiful menu, and my team was able to execute that menu with me working with them remotely to deliver a 3-course experience, of Nigerian. It was a purely Nigerian African menu. Actually, it was 4 courses because we started off with palm wine, and then we went all the way down to a delicious dessert.
Wow, powerful. Is he still acting?
He is, definitely. He has a new movie coming out with Kemi Adetiba called King of Boys. That should be out very shortly.
Wow.
Out in a few days.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing the insights to this picture and this, to your work with him. We want to take a look at.
Oh, it's still going? This list is long, bro.
Yeah, it's long because you've done a lot. We got to take.
I mean, we've spoken about Don Jazzy already. He's a record producer, very famous in West Africa and around the world. Don Jazzy was, like I said, one of the first people to patronize the Cookie Jar Bakery, and has since been a huge supporter of my brand. Don Jazzy's Don Jazzy, great guy.
Excellent. Okay, so how has religion? First of all, are you a religious person?
I am. I'm a Christian.
Christian. Okay, and how has your faith played out in your career up until now?
Quite a Good role, you know. I would say that I have put my knees to the ground a lot, and I've had to have faith in God and in what the future holds. You know, before I set out every day, I say a prayer that the sun shall not smite me by day nor the moon by night. You know, the Lord shall be my shield on my right hand. You know, he will guide my going out and my coming in.
Okay.
You know, and I also always pray for all gates to be lifted, and I pray that all those gates are lifted before I go out. So
Wow.
I would say religion plays a huge role. My career.
Thanks again for sharing. Before we come to your project, which will be the last thing we discuss before we go, which, you know, I know you're busy, so we'll try to wrap it up real quick. The case for Nigeria, Ghana. When we spoke, you added into the contest, the Senegalese jollof. So tell us about it.
The contest.
Well, the contest has been between Nigeria and Ghana, right? When it comes to, mostly for most Africans, or I'll say most West Africans, you know, that competition of who is better and all that. So in the fights to become the champion of who cooks the best jollof, you know, when it comes to Ghana and Nigeria, that is what most of us are used to. But then again, when we spoke, you mentioned Senegal. So tell us about the whole jollof saga.
So obviously everyone knows that there has been this ongoing war between Nigeria and Ghana, virtual war between Nigeria and Ghana on whose jollof is better.
Yeah.
I have been very removed from it, and I'll tell you why. I feel like Africa as a whole is a great nation together as opposed to individually. And this jollof war is one of those things that have been created to drive a wedge between two different nations. Okay. And so when I cook the jollof rice, I don't cook a Nigerian jollof rice, neither do I cook a Ghanaian jollof rice or a Senegalese jollof rice. So the Senegalese are actually the inventors of jollof, right? The Wolof people of Senegal came up with this tomato-based rice, you know, that's cooked in stock. And the Senegalese will usually infuse a lot of vegetables, seafood into their jollof. The Ghanaians use a perfumed rice, usually a jasmine or basmati, to make their rice. And the Nigerians are famous for smoking the jollof. Now, my jollof, which I call the Unity jollof, combines all three jollofs into one. So if you come to go to my restaurant or you come on any of my events or tours, you would experience the Unity jollof, which fuses the smokiness of the Nigerian, the perfumed rice of the Ghanaians, and the infusion of delicious stock and vegetables, most times in the case of plantain, peas, and carrots, into a jollof. Wow.
No, thanks for sharing. I mean, when people talk about the jollof war between Nigeria and Ghana, I think it's more on a lighter side. People just,
it is definitely on a lighter side.
Exactly.
It's not even serious.
Good. And thanks for sharing that perspective.
More fun than anything else. More fun and games.
There you go. And so, I mean, for me, the Senegalese aspect of the Senegalese narration to the whole jollof, you know, thing is something new to me. And so thanks for sharing. And I'm sure a lot of people have gotten some insight to that as well. Now, your project in the United States, tell us how is, first of all, your vision for it and how it's going so far.
All right, so I'm on holiday at the moment, and what I'm doing whilst I'm here is not just sleeping and waking up every day. It's using my holiday as a platform to educate people on my culture, using food as a medium of communication. So what I've been doing is traveling different cities in the UK, in the US, and having private dinners for friends and family, you know, to come and experience West African culture. Now, the friends and family have invited their own friends and families, and people have had to go on the websites to register, because these tours, these experiences are very expensive to put together. We have put a little bit of a price tag to it. It's a not-profit exercise, so it's not for profit. It's just enough to break even and cover costs, and not even so much so, right? But we've had over 100 people come and experience, and people not just Nigerians, but other Africans and non-Africans come and experience West African culture through food. The event has happened in LA, in New York, and in the Hamptons, and is going to be moving to Houston from the 18th through to the 22nd in Houston, and then in Atlanta from the 28th through to the 30th, and possibly in New York and LA again sometime in September.
Okay. And any type of support that you would like people to give you out there whilst you were here and on this project?
So, like I said, this exercise has been a not-for-profit exercise.
Okay.
We raised a little bit of funds from the people who have registered and have paid the gate fee to come in, but it's not enough to cover the cost. As a result, we would obviously appreciate any help we can get in terms of sponsorship, to pay for the cost expenses, which is anywhere between $4,000 to $5,000 per event.
Well, thank you again for sharing. We have a few comments we'd like to read out before we close this evening's episode with the Billionaire Chef. This is from K. Who jollof do you like? Of course, I'm sure you already responded.
I like all three of them.
So, not seeing the food, but got me salivating. Thank you again for sharing.
If you want to see the food, go onto my Instagram. You'll find a lot of food pictures on there, and yeah.
Which is the Billionaire.
The Billionaire Chef.
There you go.
The Billionaire Chef.
Okay, I thought I had it right. Thanks for the awareness, and thanks for coming on to share your story, sir. Agnes Sarfo. She is one of the up-and-coming chefs, restaurateur. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Restaurateur, yes.
Excellent. And so, if you're taking mentors, she's a very studious lady, and if you don't mind, we can, after off air, we can discuss how you can mentor her, take her on as one of mentees. Thank you. And this is from we got that from Honey
as Medicine.
Okay, Honey as Medicine. Upon wonderful program. Thank you for commenting. Well, our show for this evening has come to an end with Chef Eros. We have heard a little bit about his story coming up on this journey and being who and where he's at today. The people that he is cooked for, some of the people that he is cooked for, he shared the story behind the story. We hope that you've gotten some insight. We hope that you have been inspired. And of course, with the project that he is on in the United States, we also hope that you give him the support that you can. He shared this information. If you Google him, if you put his name in on Google, all information and everything you need to know about him is out there. And if you want to reach out to him, feel free to do so via social media. Chef Eros, we are very grateful for your coming to the program and sharing your story. Any last words before we let you go?
Just say thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to having more conversation in the future. Just want to thank everyone who tuned in and sharing, my story and the work that we're doing with their contacts. We are doing this to, one, make our continent proud, and to put our continent on the global map, and talk about, share our culture using food as a medium of communication. So please do whatever you can to continue to push the agenda. If you're a chef, start considering cooking more of your cuisine, and don't be afraid to modernize and make things look different, but as long as you keep it authentic in its taste, just thank you.
My pleasure. The Billionaire Chef. He's very big on presentation, and he mentioned it earlier that people are not eating like the way we used to some years ago, right? And so if you're into the cuisine or restaurateur business, presentation is everything. And so he's a master of it. In addition to a lot of things, he's gotten a lot of experience. He has the exposure, obviously. So, and he's willing to share. How cool can that be? He's willing to share. Whatever you're doing, like he said, promoting your culture or Africa, keep doing it, and most importantly, keep doing it in the most excellent. And I think God being with for all of us, you will succeed. My brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are glad that you were doing what you're doing for yourself, your community, your family, and Mama Africa. I also want to take a moment to say a special thanks to Oni for setting this up. Oni is a special lady in the community doing international things as well. And again, for those of you who are interested in African cuisine, you want to contact Faithful Kitchen. Faithful Kitchen. She is on Instagram. Her phone number is 224-334-5952. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. The Progressive Mind Show would return as usual on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. My brother, it was nice talking to you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.